All right, it is time for the behind-the-scenes weather model discussion right around 3:15 on this Monday, November the 21st. How's it going, everyone? William Cole here in the Storm Studio, and it just seems weird saying it's already the end of November. The end of this year is just flying by, isn't it? Of course, we're in a holiday week, Turkey Day now just around the corner. That is going to be one of the things we really focus in on here. We've got some rain chances, unfortunately, on the way. Maybe on Turkey Day, or at least around Turkey Day. Exactly what I mean by that, again, we'll talk about that coming up. Again, this is our bonus content. We put this on our social media. This is where we take you behind the scenes and again look at the raw data, not so much the pretty TV graphics, but the raw data that we've been going through throughout the afternoon. And again, essentially showing you how we're kind of tying together the forecast of the day. Now, of course, this segment is also brought to you in part by our Patreon subscribers. For just $2.99 per month, you can help support this segment, but also our mobile app, our channel, again, everything else that we're doing. If you haven't signed up to be one of our Patreon subscribers, think about doing that today. Like I mentioned, it's only $2.99 per month. And again, it's at patreon.com/weathertrackertv. Again, it's also there at the bottom of the screen. So let's go and dive into this. Like I mentioned, we've got a lot going on today. First of all, just looking, first of all, we're going to look at the live cam. That's typically where we like to start. Just looking at downtown Dallas. The one thing you may notice, it's gray, right? It's gray, it's chilly out there. We have not really seen any peaks of sun as we've gone through the afternoon. This morning we had a few peaks of sun, and it looked like maybe we were going to begin at least kind of unfold the cloud cover fairly quickly heading into the afternoon. But it thickened back up, and this time of year, the sun angle is so low, sometimes it's truly hard to really burn off that low-grade cloud cover, the stratus cloud cover, as you go through the afternoon. And simply put, that's been the issue today. Not impossible. We've still got about 2 more hours that, again, we may see a few peaks of sun. We'll see what happens. We're 51 right now here in the Metroplex. A lot of 50s around, but we've got a storm system moving through, and there's rain down along the coast. So the reason why, like down in Houston, it's a little bit cooler, and even down in Corpus, they're only in the 40s, right? I mean, that's completely reversed. Typically, if we're in the 50s, you may think they're, close to 60 or 70. But again, they've got clouds and rain down there this afternoon. So we didn't really get much of anything. We've had a few sprinkles. We had a couple showers even yesterday evening and again this morning. And we even had a little bit of sleet mixed in. Here in Dallas, we had a few sleet pellets coming down. It didn't amount to anything. And even the rain that we got, I believe it's only going to be about a trace officially in the climate report. But we just didn't have enough moisture. We've got a big upper level storm system I'm going to show you moving through the area. If we would have had more moisture, it would have been a completely different deal up here, right? We would have been talking about a fairly decent cold rain. The moisture was down along the coast, and again, simply put, they're just getting the rain down there. Looking at temperatures just quickly here, even across North Texas, again, you can see generally 50s. Our southern counties like Hamilton County, even back over through Anderson County, you can see a few 40s popping up there. The winds, they have been light throughout the day, but notice it is a southerly wind redeveloping, and that southerly wind will be key to a moderating, meaning a slight warming trend on the temperatures over the next several days. Okay, let's go and jump into this. And let's see what we got going on today. Because like I mentioned, we've got something happening right now, but what I think everyone is interested in is what's up with the Thanksgiving forecast. And the newest data, it's changed again. So we're going to talk about that coming up. But here's that dip. You can see this little shortwave trough moving through, right? We kind of have a troughing pattern truly across most of the nation. The troughing pattern that was truly pretty well amplified. It's beginning to kind of back off to the northeast, but within the flow, we have a little storm system coming through, literally sitting right over the Metroplex. Again, if we had more moisture, a little more dynamic, I mean, we'd be talking about some rain. We don't have it here, but again, down along the coast, they are getting some rain down there. Not necessarily so far a super big deal down there, but they are getting rain, essentially from Waco to the south. That's truly where the rain chances have been as we've gone through the afternoon. I want to show you this as well, just quickly. And again, this is the water vapor imagery, right? And again, one of the reasons why we didn't get much in the way of precipitation. I can't say none because, again, we had some showers, we had a few raindrops, again, a little bit of sleet. But where you're seeing this area of yellow, that's all dry air at the mid-levels, right? So even the activity that was trying to fall yesterday evening at the lower to mid-levels, it was so dry that it was basically just evaporating as it came down, right? So we couldn't really get anything to go here. But again, down along the coast where there's a little bit more moisture, and especially now even heading over to the bayous of Louisiana, that's where they have an opportunity of rain. Really not even talking about convective rain, not much even in the way of thunder, but again, just mainly general rain down there. And again, there has been some coming down as we went through the day. But again, that yellow just showing you the drier air there on the water vapor imagery. A quick peek here as well at the cloud cover. Now you can see we are eroding it, right? Even though from the live cam, even looking out our office window here, we're in the Stemmons corridor in Dallas. It looks pretty gray. But again, if you look carefully, you can see that a lot of that cloud cover is beginning to erode. And we should see a few peaks of sun definitely before, 5:15 as the sun begins to go down, right? So a little bit of sun not impossible here where we're eroding that gray cloud cover. And again, where we have rain ongoing, not so much down along the coast. And if you look carefully down along the coast, you can also see a few they look like little measles there, little cumulus cloud also mixed in there. So even though I said there was no convective activity down there, we are bubbling up some cumulus cloud at least down there, and not impossible to actually even have a little bit of thunder and a little bit of lightning down along the coast as well. Again, just based off of the satellite imagery. Okay, let's also do this. I just want to take a quick peek at the convective outlook. This will be for today and the next couple of days just around the country just to see what's going on, right? So today, the opportunity of thunderstorm activity, nothing severe, basically down in the Florida Peninsula. They've got a stalled out boundary down there. And it's going to be there tomorrow as well. Another opportunity down there. Nothing severe. The light green, again, it's just general convection, right? General thunderstorm activity. And as it turns out, day 3, similar story, just a stalled out boundary. Again, just like if we get a boundary stalled over us and we have the right conditions, we can get rain and storms, and that's what's happening. So again, if for any reason you're heading to South Florida, like the Miami area, Fort Lauderdale, again, for the holidays, it looks wet each and every day leading into Thanksgiving. And again, we're talking about thunderstorm activity down there. Okay, let's go and switch over to the model. This is really what it's all about. This is what we like to get into. I'm going to zoom this in just a little bit more and give you a better view. And so what we were looking at moments ago when I was showing you the dip, that was the 500 millibar chart, right? That's at about 18,000 feet at the middle levels of the atmosphere. And so this is the similar chart. It is a similar chart, but this is the model data, right? So that was showing what is current. This is going to walk us through the next 10 days. This is based off of a global model, right? As you look out into the extended, what we call the medium range, you use a global model, right? We have high-res data that is short-term, 48, 60 hours out, right? But again, as we want to put together a 12-day forecast, well, we've got to look well on down the road. So we use global models, right? There's 2 main ones, the Euro, which I'm using here, and then there's also the American GFS model. The GFS struggles from time to time, to put it mildly, right? So we tend to use the Euro. So that's what we're picking up on here, right? And what we're looking for here, again, if this is your first time watching this segment, we're watching for dips or ridges. We're watching for storm troughs, active weather, or ridges where we have calmer weather. One's cooler typically, one's warmer typically, and again, we just get the overall pattern. Then from there, we kind of dive down a little bit deeper in each. So, right, so today, obviously, we have the mini shortwave kind of in this long wave trough. You're going to see all of that pull away, but what we're going to be watching is coming up here from the Pacific Northwest. That is our weather maker for this upcoming, again, midweek, late week, Thanksgiving time frame. And like I mentioned, the data on this has just begun to change again, where it looks like this weather maker is really going to slow down, and it may make the Thanksgiving holiday a little more unsettled weather-wise. So this is important information. So let's go and take a look at it here. If you watch carefully, there is that system diving down, coming down through the Rockies. Take a look. It almost looks like it's going to go through the Central Plains, but then at the last minute, it jaunts due southbound right into North Texas. It strengthens. You can see the colors there. That's the area's spin, vorticity. But then look what happens. It stalls, and it spins, and it spins, and it spins right over North Texas. So that's going to give us now, that was the big question, because the American model, the GFS, was showing a slower solution. The Euro had been pretty progressive, meaning it was going to be in and out. Slower solution, slower timing on this means the opportunity of rain, the window, the opportunity of rain is open longer, right? So we may not just be talking about Wednesday. Now we're maybe talking about Thursday. Could we also be talking about Black Friday, right? So that's the big question. I'm going to show you what the computer model thinks as far as precip coming up, right? So we're just kind of sticking with this. So that system is in and out Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We know the timing on that. We head into the weekend fairly quiet, but then here comes another system. Behind that, another system. And behind that, another system, right? Which all this is pretty standard for this time of year, right? I mean, this is from really last week all the way through June. This is our active time of year. We'll be talking about winter weather. We'll be talking about severe weather from now until June. It's just busy. I mean, most weeks will be busy, right? So now we're going to look just below this. We're going to look for any air mass change in the 850 millibar layer here. This will be just above the surface, right? So what we're looking for now is the potential of the strength of any cold fronts with these systems. We'll put the actual forecasting numbers with that, with a separate set of data coming up momentarily. This is just to visualize air mass change and truly what's going on, okay? So number one, I mean, you can see we're cool now, but the bulk of the chilly air has retreated to the north, right, back up into Canada, right? That really chilly air mass, that was down in a good part of the nation as we went through most of last week, right? So it's retreated back up into Canada. I mean, you see we're in the greens. I mean, we're cool. We're still not necessarily warm, right? So the system, at least as we go through the Thanksgiving holiday, right, you see it coming down with a little Canadian air. You see a little bit of light blue there. It's not major, right? We will get a little cold front with that. We'll turn slightly cooler on Friday. Not a big cool down with that one at all. But then look what's happening out in the Intermountain West, right? We've got a ridging pattern which appears to be developing. And you can see it developing because look at all the chilly air, how it goes well to the north. It looks like a little bump, right? So it appears as though we're going to have a bit of a ridging pattern begin to build in. Let me come back to this. And you can see some milder temperatures. Take a look at that. Some milder temperatures begin to build in, but then directly behind that, you can see the dips beginning to show up. Those are those next storm troughs coming in, right? And so the first one, again, the cold air with it stays to the north. I mean, we get a cold front. You can see not much with it, right? We continue forward in time. This next system coming in, you can see it's really tapping some bitter air, right? That could even be a little bit of Arctic air coming out of northwestern Canada. So here comes that one. Cold front. You can see the cold front coming through because we rebound the temperatures. We're in the yellow. And again, we'll put real numbers with this. I know this sounds very elementary. We're in the yellow, we're going to green. I mean, but that's truly how you analyze this map, right? I promise we'll put real numbers and make it sound more scientific coming up momentarily. But you can see the cold front coming through with that last storm, right? That appears to be a stronger one. That's in about 9 or 10 days. I'm sorry, that's in about 7 to 8 days on down the road. And so we'll get a fairly decent cold front with that one. That'll put us back into the 50s. And then you can see, take a look, in far northwestern Canada, that's some of the coldest air of the season teaming up with that next system. Again, there's no guarantee that makes it down into North Texas, but in the northern plains, central plains, maybe in North Texas, as we go out about 14 or 15 days, whatever it is, wherever it is, the coldest air of the season, which again is typical, will be somewhere in the continental United States at that point in time, okay? So we've got a lot going on. I want to look at precip next, and then again we'll look at the actual high and low temperatures. But I want to tie this together with the rain chances, one, because this is kind of the big deal. And if nothing else, this is probably what you want to see, again, for Thanksgiving, right? Okay, so again, we had the low gray clouds today. We'll burn that off. I think we're going to have some fog tomorrow morning. I'll show you the high res data on that. I think there will be some fog around tomorrow morning. We burn that off. Again, Tuesday we're dry, right? Tuesday we're dry. Here's the new data, okay? And so this will start Wednesday. You can see some showers around, right? That doesn't look like a big deal. And that's pretty much what the forecast had been as that system was in and out. Some showers on Wednesday, not really a big deal, and it's kind of gone. But now as it stalls, take a look at this. As we get into, this is early Thursday morning, you can see our eastern counties, but it appears as though from the 35 corridor off to the east, there's going to be an opportunity of some rain around, right? It still doesn't look like it's just a heavy deluge of rain, but it looks like even on Thanksgiving, there's going to be some shower chances around. That's by late afternoon. I mean, it's a good 30% opportunity, may theoretically even go a little bit higher as we get closer in time. And then as a system on the backside of it is just beginning to pull away on Friday, Take a look at that there. Another opportunity of rain, and again on the cold sector, on the far back side of it, that's a pretty decent snowstorm out in our Texas Panhandle. I'm coming very close to the Big Country as well. So if for any reason you're heading out towards the Permian Basin or you're heading up into the Panhandle, Lubbock, Amarillo, I mean, the way it looks right now, they could see some pretty decent snow, even up in Oklahoma, wintry mix. So again, we're kind of right there on the razor's edge, the Metroplex specifically, right, of seeing some rain. But it looks like we're going to have rain opportunities both Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Again, it doesn't appear to be just a heavy rain event coming through or it's a total washout, but it also doesn't appear to be dry. So it looks pretty cloudy, it looks pretty damp, and because of that, even though we don't necessarily, for the most part, have a cold front coming through until later on Friday as that system pulls away, as opposed to our temperatures being in the 60s, they're probably going to be more like the upper 50s just because of the clouds and again some rain around the area as well. Okay, so that storm system pulls away, then we'll get the front behind it, okay? But now let's look at for any other rain opportunity over the next 10 days. Here comes that next storm system in about 7 or 8 days. It tries to develop some rain, maybe even some thunder, but that's well to our east, right? It's saying here in North Texas, we just don't have the moisture for that system to work with. And the Arklatex and the Piney Woods may see some rain and a little bit of thunder over there. So really over the next 10 days, our only real rain opportunity, the way it looks today, would be Wednesday, Thursday, and a Friday. Doesn't look like heavy rain, but there's some rain, at least some rain opportunity there. Let me go and put up future rainfall totals. Let's go and take a look at this. And let's just see what the Euro. I'm just going to run this through 10 days, right? And I have to get down here. As small as it is on your screen, it's smaller on mine. So, I mean, I literally cannot see these numbers. But here in the Metroplex, over 10 days, it's advertising about 1/4 of an inch, right? So between Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, about 1/4 of an inch. But look over in the Piney Woods, look up in the Arklatex, look up in Oklahoma. Again, an opportunity of heavier rain in those locations, right? We're kind of, the way the storm comes out, we're kind of in the dry slot here in across a good part of North Texas. And so, you know, right now, the way it looks, there's some rain chances, doesn't look overly heavy, but enough to maybe make the holiday look a little unsettled, okay? And again, not a whole lot in our rain gauge, but I mean, 1/4 of an inch is never bad. Anytime you get 1/4 of an inch, again, not necessarily a bad thing. Well, let's just quickly peek at snow here as well. Not for us, but again, out in our Texas Panhandle. And keep in mind, this will still change some. This is not completely locked in, right? Every 12 hours, this data will seesaw just some. And whenever you see a big bullseye like this here, where it's forecasting 16 to 20 inches of snow in our Texas Panhandle, I mean, I probably don't have to tell you, right? You're thinking the same thing as me. Let's see this a couple times. We need to see this run a couple times. This will probably be a one-off deal where it's putting out that much snow, right? But I mean, it's still not impossible even going forward. Do we maybe get some snow out there? Yeah, probably it's not impossible, right? But we'll see. We'll watch those snow totals. I mean, obviously, I would not take that to Vegas at this point in time whatsoever, especially based off of a global model. But the bottom line is there is some snow available out there or possible out there, but you'll probably see some people on social media pretty soon talking about this opportunity of, again, 1 foot of snow in the Panhandle. But again, if you see that on social media, again, in the back of your mind, think, they just saw it too, and they're trying to get hyped up about it. But most likely, probably at 98%, that is not going to happen. But we'll see what the data shows tomorrow. If for some reason it holds, then I mean, we have to start, at some point you have to start buying it. But right now, when you see it for the first time, you don't buy it at all. Okay, I want to look at one other thing here. I want to look at visibility. This will be for tomorrow morning. And this is switching over to the high-res data now, right? So we've gone from the global model because everything we're truly working with is in that medium range, right? None of that is within the high-res window, so I don't have any high-res data to show you any of that, right? I mean, that forecast will continue to evolve some, and then because it's just, the data has not agreed at all. You know, a lot of times at this point, we fairly well have the forecast locked in, and we do fairly well have it locked in. We know that system's coming through. We know there's going to be some rain around, but the timing, I mean, just every 12 hours, it has not been consistent, either with the Euro or with the GFS. Every 12 hours it's been flip-flopping, right? And it could still flip-flop again. So it may be that we really have to get to within that high-res window to nail down this forecast. Sometimes it's like that. Honestly, it's really not like that very often. But this one, the models have just, they have not liked this system for whatever reason. Okay, so let's look at the high-res visibility. And when I say visibility, I'm talking about the fog opportunity. And you can see from the 35 corridor off to the west, there's going to be a pretty decent opportunity of fog by tomorrow morning, right? And even though you're really seeing a lot of dark stuff on there, it doesn't mean everyone in there is going to see dense fog, but the computer is definitely populating an area saying, hey, we may have some dense fog. Patchy fog, dense fog. Patchy fog is kind of doable, right? Means it's kind of foggy, but the visibility isn't necessarily reduced, but you have the fog phenomenon going on, right? Dense fog means reduced visibility. I mean, it can be even to a quarter mile or less, which is when the Weather Service, they begin to issue dense fog advisories, things like that, right? So we'll see if that happens, but the bottom line is, especially if you're just west of the Metroplex, kind of in the more rural areas out there, Parker County, Palo Pinto County, even back up through like Jack County, Wise County, things like that, or locations like that. Keep in mind, again, if you would be driving into the Metroplex tomorrow morning, especially on the more rural roads out there, right? Even if you're coming up Interstate 20 or 380 or however you do it, keep in mind, it could be pretty foggy, okay? One last thing, let's go and put numbers with everything we did, and then we'll wrap this up, because I got to get rocking and rolling here too. We've got to get our afternoon show on here in just a little bit. Okay, quickly, let's go and take a look at this. So again, when we were looking earlier at air mass change, right, I told you we would come back to it. We don't just look at the yellows and the greens or the blues. Again, that's just the way to visualize what's happening within the atmosphere, right? So here's the raw numbers to go along with that. Okay, for tomorrow, 59. After a cloudy start to the morning, we'll begin to clear the skies. 59 tomorrow. That's about what we've had. Wednesday, because of the opportunity of rain, we're looking a little cooler, right? There's not necessarily a cold front or anything coming through. Wednesday, we just look cooler. Clouds, kind of rainy. Even the high temperature for Thursday has now been trending down. And again, it's the same reason, right? Clouds, maybe now even an opportunity of rain. 61 is still, this is off the Blenda models. Let me just take a quick peek here at what the Euro raw data is. And the Euro raw data, the Euro is actually quite a bit milder. It's still up around 66. Most of the forecasts that we've been using and putting together has had a milder Thanksgiving. To be honest with you, and even what we have, I'm using this Blenda model guidance here. 61 looks a lot more feasible, right? If it's cloudy, if there's an opportunity of some rain around, I don't think the temperatures are going to jump much at all, right? So 61 looks pretty reasonable right now. After that, on Friday, we do end up getting a front through. Now, the timing on the front depends on how soon that system departs, right? So, I mean, we're going to be in the 50s. I believe I still have a 58 on Friday. But and again, this isn't a big Arctic front. But again, as we get into Friday evening, Friday night, northerly wind will kick in. It'll be a little bit cooler, a little bit chillier this time of year, I should say, as we go through Friday evening and Friday night. But you see, we quickly recover, right? Saturday into Sunday, the weekend does look milder. We have the big warm up next week, and then we have that next weather maker coming in by that following Tuesday into Wednesday into Thursday. Then I can tell you most of the data, let me see if I can back this up, was a little bit cooler on Wednesday and Thursday. My forecast is a little bit cooler. Let me see if I can back this up to earlier. And you can see there were some 50s by Thursday. My trend is down, right? We're getting that secondary push of some pretty chilly air. Again, when you're this far out, the data will continue to evolve some, but it's been pretty consistent that we have some type of modified air mass coming down, and it looks like it's going to be a little bit chillier, right? So my trend on day, what would that be, 9, 10, 11, and even 12 is a trend down, right? And then we know there's a really big pocket of cold air up to the north. So again, as we get today, 13, 14, 15, obviously we're going well down the road. We get it, that's, half a month, but we know there's going to be some cold air up there. Again, where exactly does that go? Does it stay to our north? Does it come further south? It is that time of year. Once you start to get into December, you really have to look for the real Arctic blasts that don't just get caught up to the north. They have an opportunity as well to come further to the south. So this is the time of year we do begin to watch for that. And again, as on schedule, I mean, it's up there. Again, no guarantee it comes this far south, but again, does it begin to move into the continental United States? Looks like, yeah, probably so. So again, everything is pretty much on schedule. The only deviation truly has been, it's just been a chilly November, right? Temperatures have just trended well below normal. And in fact, most of December, November rather, I think other than the first week, I think every daytime high after that has been below normal, and it's going to be pretty hard. There may be one day that we recover right before we head into December that is actually at or above normal. So it's been a cool month for sure. So that's where we are, folks. Again, thanks for joining us here in our weather model discussion. We'll do another one of these again tomorrow, get you caught up with the forecast heading into Thanksgiving. We want to throw this up as well. Again, if you have not downloaded our mobile app, be sure to do that today. Again, it is completely free, again, on the Apple iTunes Store, also on the Google Play Store. And again, just type in Weather Tracker TV, download it, and again, like I mentioned, completely free of charge. Also, again, if you want to be a Patreon subscriber, just remember patreon.com/Weather Tracker TV. And again, for just $2.99 per month, again, you can help support this segment, that mobile app you're seeing right there, and again, the rest of our channel as well. Of course, we appreciate all of our Patreon subscribers and also appreciate you watching this video. Also, be sure to give us a like if you're seeing it on social media, and leave us a comment. Let us know where you're watching from. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your Monday, and we'll talk to you a little bit later on.